The emperor welcomed the daughter of Duke Michelian. The girl bowed back. She said that she believed that the ruler should first rest, and they will talk a little later. The girl offered to escort the emperor to his chambers. As a child, the emperor loved to walk around the neighborhood alone, and one day he encountered a witch who wanted to take him for herself. The woman invited the beautiful boy to go with her, but the guy asked not to make him laugh and to get out if she didn't want to die. After the witch was rejected, she cursed him, but the prince ignored the curse and killed the witch. The witch promised that her curse would be with him until the end of his days. Because of the witch's curse, the prince could no longer sleep, and since he killed the witch, it was impossible to lift the curse. Because of this terrible curse, the prince could not sleep even for a moment. A certain man asked for mercy for his crime. He became the emperor. For many years the prince suffered from insomnia. Because of this, it seemed that nothing could stop his tyranny after years of insomnia. The emperor received a report from Duke Michelian. His daughter has the ability to put others to sleep. The duke's daughter Leen will be able to help the emperor with his insomnia. Initially, it was Leen who was supposed to go to the emperor. The man was very happy to see the duke's daughter and called her his salvation. The emperor told Leen that after she appeared, he was no longer afraid of the night. Unfortunately, Leen already had a lover. The duke told her that family honor comes before love, but on her wedding day, Leen chose love. The girl ran and was in tears. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw her dead lover and father nearby. The duke was confident that his daughter would not forget her beloved, so he killed him. Leen tried to revive the guy. She called Seiji, but the guy would never answer her. The girl could not come to terms with his death. She took the knife in her hands and said that she didn't need a world without him, and she was going to go to him. And she left after him. The emperor's insomnia returned, and he became even more irritable than before. And instead of blaming the witch's curse, he directed his anger at the Michelian house. And the Michelian duchy was destroyed not at the end of the story, but right before the climax. This is the content of the novel, The Night of the Sleepless Emperor, in which the main character found herself. She was shocked that she would put the emperor to sleep. The man asked if he was talking about using Leyland's gift. This is exactly what the man meant. Leen must earn the emperor's favor for the honor of the Michelian family. Therefore, he ordered Leen to get ready. The girl understood that this could not be. She didn't know what would happen to Seiji. As the one who became Leyland's elder sister, right before she went to the palace, there are two things that the lady cannot do. The main character cannot curb the duke's ambitions and stop Lillian's love. Although the girl ended up in this novel, she is still the daughter of the ducal house of Michelian. In order to survive here and save your family, to avoid a tragic ending. The man was surprised. Lady Lillian reported that her father had changed his mind. Lillian said that she would go to the palace. The emperor asked Lillian what needed to be done to make him fall asleep. The girl was very angry with the fairy and was never ready to forgive her. The girl asked the emperor to lie down comfortably, close his eyes, and not move no matter what. The emperor closed his eyes, and the girl bent down to kiss him. The man put his hand between himself and Lillian and asked what she was doing. Lillian said she would do it through his forehead, and that was the only way to help him sleep. The emperor was very angry, but immediately a radiance appeared around him. The man fell asleep. The maid asked to excuse her for a second. The woman came up and did not believe that the emperor was sleeping. Everyone was in complete shock. The emperor actually fell asleep. It was amazing. The maid admitted that she had doubts. Everyone had doubts because the emperor could not sleep no matter what he did. The woman assumed that if he fell asleep, he was not going to suddenly wake up. Lillian said that this was true, and the emperor would sleep until her witchcraft dissipated. Dream. This power was a blessing, which was given over 200 years ago to the Duchy of Michelian by an old lady. The old woman was actually their fairy godmother and gave them this ability, to make anyone they kiss fall asleep. And this blessing was passed on to all the girls who were born into the Michelian family, and until they die, the power will not disappear. The woman asked the girl if this meant that His Imperial Majesty could sleep like this every night. Leen told them not to worry, because sleep lasts at least 6 hours. The guards and maids bowed and said that they would meet her again and would be under her care. Lillian said the same goes for her. The elder sister did not understand what this child was thinking about. She didn't understand why Lillian took so long. She thought about sending someone to the palace, but she immediately decided that she should not cause such inconvenience. But the main character could not just sit idly by, so she began to think about going to look for Lillian. Her sister appeared behind her. The main character told Lillian that her father was furious. The main character asked her sister if she wanted to meet the Emperor, and if not, then if she just wanted to go out. She had to tell her sister because she was very worried. The girls held hands and were very glad that everything was okay. Laylan didn't understand how everyone dared to do this. The girl couldn't listen to it anymore. Now the main character understood that this was still true, that they all see Lillian as a joke. A simple maid dares to treat her like this. The maid apologized. Laylan said that these words should have been said to Lillian. Laylan ordered to call all the maids, and he and Lillian will deal directly with the actions of the maids. The main character thought that today was the most stressful day since she got into the book. Laylan entered the room and noticed that all the maids were on their knees and asking for forgiveness. The sister asked Lillian when this started. Although Sister Laylan is a fictional character who was created for the sister in the book, the main character liked her. Lillian told her sister that this room had always been her responsibility. They said it was because she was an illegitimate child. This surprised the older sister. The girl liked the woman who devoted herself to protecting the main character. Laylan ordered all of them to be fired. There will be no exceptions. The security had to take them and leave. The maids asked her to forgive her. Laylan told Lillian that she was showing her her bad sides. The girl liked a woman who was filled with kindness. Lillian said it was okay and she understood. The main character began to hug her older sister. She said that she likes her sister who takes care of her, and Lillian will always be grateful to Laylan. The elder sister said that despite this, she still could not let her go to this tyrant. Lillian told her sister that she had told her this before, that she wanted to go to the palace of her own free will and wanted to protect Laylan and her boyfriend's happiness. The younger sister said that she was really fine. The main character did this not only to stop the destruction of the family, but also to protect the happiness of this woman. The main character should be the one who goes to the Emperor. The man brought the guy a drink. The guy asked the servant if he had anything to say. The guy sat down on the bench and asked what the servant wanted to tell him. The servant asked the young master whether he thought it was right to indiscriminately fire all their workers. The young guy said that if it is done without a reason, then it is not fair. The servant was delighted and said that the master thought as he thought. The guy asked what happened. The servant whispered the news. The young master asked if he understood correctly that Laylan fired more than 20 workers today. The man confirmed this and said that he was also included in the list. The man said that he spent a lot of time working on this estate, and in the end, he asked if the gentleman could convince Miss Leland to change her mind. The man was sure that Bastian would take the side of the servants. Bastian turned to the servant and said that he seemed to not understand something. The young master asked why he had to convince Laylan, since their dismissal was legal. The servant fell to his knees and said that the young master knew about everything and witnessed everything that happened. Bastian said that he was right, and he was aware of the man's arrogance and negligence, and he just wanted to let Lillian deal with him on her own, so he remained an observer. But in the end, this child is too loving and kind-hearted. Apparently, treating Lillian like an idiot was not enough for the man, and he shamelessly came here in search of Mr. Bastian. The gentleman took the sword in his hands, and he said that the servant had already had enough of shining his shameless face in front of him and fuck off while he asked in a good way. Meanwhile, Lillian asked the maid Rosie if her dress was ready. The maid rushed off to check. The attitude of the workers has changed a lot after yesterday's mess. They didn't treat the main character with full respect after that. But after witnessing Laylan's anger, they began to at least a little care for the main character. The older sister told Lillian that she understood the younger sister's determination, and she was also very grateful that her sister was thinking about her. However, from the very beginning, the one whom the father chose was Leen. The father is better known as the stubborn duke. Befitting his status as a duke, he displays good manners in public. However, within the walls of his estate, he can easily yell or resort to violence. He can be the only precious father for Laylan and Bastian, not for the main character. Lillian said that her sister needn't worry. Rosie told the missus her dress was ready. Liliana ordered it to be brought here. The whole family had a meal together, and the Duke said that the Emperor said that he managed to sleep well. The main character, looking at his face, realized that in the novel it was the same. Father asked Lillian why she did this. Lillian said she couldn't stand by. The girl asked if the young man's father recognized Laylan. The Duke was furious and asked if she had forgotten what the honor and title of Count meant. father said that this man was not suitable for Sister Lillian, but the girl said that trying to control Leen with such terrible greed would bring misfortune. The father hit Lillian and asked if she wanted to say that she could take Leyland's place, and if she thought that she would succeed. The Duke asked if his daughter said that she did not know what would happen if His Majesty the Emperor found out about Lillian's inferior origins. The girl asked what would happen then. Lillian said she was curious. They said that she would be a problem because she is the daughter of a common maid, but Lillian doesn't think it's important, so she doesn't understand why it's so important to them. The Emperor asked if the maid's daughter could put her to sleep. He was told that since she was a daughter from the Machellian family, this was permissible. The man said that in this case, he does not see any problems. The Duke could not believe that this could be true. The Emperor noticed that they had agreed to leave this place when the sun set. The Emperor wondered whether he was too late, but Lillian reported that he came right at the right moment. The man asked if the girl would help him sleep, as promised. Lillian said that if this is the Emperor's wish, then yes. The man said that if that was all, then he saw no reason to linger here and invited him to come with him. The Emperor's word was law for Lillian. The girl asked His Majesty to slow down a little because she did not want to run, but only wanted to get some fresh air. The main character did not understand why his bedroom was so far away. When they entered the room, the Emperor began to undress. Lillian didn't understand how he could undress so calmly in front of someone else. The Emperor asked Lillian to understand him correctly. He just thought it was better to change into more comfortable clothes when sleeping. Lillian said that she understood everything and did not even think about anything else. Lillian asked if she could stay outside for a while. The Emperor was surprised because she promised to put him to sleep. The girl said that she would stay at the door because she was embarrassed. The danger in this novel is great. Although scenes where the Emperor strips naked appear countless times, reading them line by line and seeing them live are two different things. It's so awkward that the main character wants to die. Lillian asked what the Emperor wanted. The man said that then she simply shouldn't see him change his clothes. The man turned Lillian around. Lillian did not understand how the Emperor did not feel embarrassed. The Emperor turned to Lillian and said that she could now put him to sleep. The main character agreed and asked if the Duke could close his eyes because she felt overwhelmed. The man grabbed the girl and took her with him to the bed. Lillian asked him to let her go, and the Emperor asked if she wanted to escape and not put him to sleep. He ordered not to speak nonsense. The girl stood up and asked if it had happened that she had ever run away and not put His Majesty to sleep. This did not happen. The Emperor himself confirmed that she never did this. However, Lillian ran away after putting the Emperor to bed. That's why he won't let her go. The main character once again noticed that he is a very obsessive man. Lillian kissed the Emperor and told him to go to sleep. The Emperor began to say that if she thought she would run away, but he did not have time to finish and fell asleep. The servants arrived. The woman asked Rushton to take His Majesty's right hand. They pulled Lillian out. She thought she would die there. The maid said that she wouldn't do that, because from now on, Lillian would be responsible for His Majesty's sleep. This means that the main character cannot die, and noted that the lady should rest. The maid showed Lillian to her room. She advised that they only offer this room to valued guests. Lillian noticed that it was a pretty nice room and thanked her. The servants asked if she had any errands for them, but Lillian said that everything is fine. The maids offered to change the sheets to softer ones or change the curtains to suit the guests' tastes. But Lillian said that everything was fine, and moreover, she felt how closely they were all watching her. Or is it just her imagination? The subordinates apologized and said that they hoped that my lady could stay here for a while longer. This surprised Lillian very much. The girl did not understand the purpose of her staying in the imperial palace and therefore asked why. The maid said that after the mistress came here, His Majesty felt much calmer. He smiled, looking at the morning sun. Not only that, but even when Lenny made a mistake, the Emperor graciously let her go. That's why yesterday, when he suddenly called the Duke. The servants feel awkward, but greet Milady with all their hearts. In fact, it was Lillian who called the Duke. They were all grateful to Lillian for saving their lives, which were on the verge of death. They asked to order them something, and they will do everything in their power. The servants begged Lillian to stay with them. Lillian said that they needn't worry because she, too, had no long-standing attachment to the Duke, although part of the reason is that she doesn't want to see the Duke. The people here are different from him and his servants. They treat Lillian warmly and sincerely. The The servants went to prepare tea. The man greeted His Majesty the Emperor, and he said that he was starting his report. The Emperor asked how things were going with Oswalden's rebellion. The knight bowed and apologized. He reported that they needed more troops than they thought. The knight understood that he should have asked for troops earlier. The only thing that pleased the man was that if he was lucky, he would only be fired from his position. The knight said that he deserves it. The Emperor said that was good. This surprised the knight very much, and he asked again. The Emperor repeated that he had said well. The ruler asked the knight to tell him later how many troops he needed. Did something good happen? That's exactly what it is. In the garden, Lillian and her maid were looking at flowers. The girl said that this is a flower that grows only on the territory of the palace. The Emperor said that this meant that Lillian had not left. The main character noticed that his complexion became a little better. Lillian said she felt she would be punished if she returned. The Emperor said that it made sense given the commotion that had occurred. Lillian said that's why she wanted to live here for a while, and asked again if it would be great. The Emperor said that she could stay here as long as she wanted. The man asked if the girl would put him to bed today. Lillian said it was only natural that she would do so. The Emperor was pleased to hear this. Suddenly, someone greeted His Majesty. Lillian realized that it was her brother, Bastian. It was very unexpected to see him here. The night Lillian left for the palace, Leyland spoke to Bastian. The guy was asking when his sister started dating her boyfriend. Leyland said that it was a year and a half ago. Bastian was the only one who did not know about such an important secret for so long. Leyland apologized to her brother. Bastian said that he understood his sister, and she must not have told him because of her father. Leland said that because of this, she doesn't know what to do now. The older sister decided to talk to her brother about Lillian. She was wondering how much inconvenience she had caused her. The father fainted and is still lying there due to recent events, and Lillian is still in the palace. Bastian asked his sister not to worry because he would think of something and bring back their little sister. Leyland understood that Lillian did not have to do anything for her. The Emperor saw Lillian again and was surprised that she had not left yet. Lillian said she felt like if she had left, she would have been punished. The Emperor grabbed the flower and asked if he should give it to her, but the girl told him to just leave it there because she would wither if she picked it. The Emperor understood that if Lillian openly showed her desires, then he could use it against her. The Emperor began to think about what would happen if he tied her up so that Lillian could not escape. The girl asked if His Majesty liked flowers, but the man denied. His Majesty must treat Lady McKellion well no matter what. The woman told the Emperor that he was now in the red, because the Emperor brought Lillian to the palace as if he had kidnapped her, and so he fell asleep, hugging the girl. The woman said that they were lucky that the lady had a kind heart, and the Emperor must understand that this is an opportunity given by heaven. The Emperor must win the lady's heart no matter what. The Emperor told Lillian that he actually liked flowers. This made the lady happy. The Emperor asked if there was anything else that Lillian liked, but the girl said no, because others had already taken care of all the necessary things. The man did not understand what to give the girl to keep her close. The man asked if Lillian would come to put him to bed that evening. Lillian said it was definitely a possibility. The Emperor really wanted this. The Emperor greeted the commander of the knights and asked what brought him here. Bastian said that he had come to accompany his sister to the duchy. He looked like a child about to throw a tantrum, and the Emperor asked if he wanted to take the lady home. Bastian said the lady is still from the McKellion family, and Bastian means that she is still a single woman. As long as Lillian is not related to the imperial family, it will not be good for her to stay here. The Emperor asked Lillian if she would leave, because the girl promised him that she would visit his chambers again tonight. Bastian is not wrong. But why does he say something so misleading? Bastian, horrified, asked if this was true. Lillian said that this was so because His Majesty needed to sleep. The main character knew that everything would be like this. Bastian repeated that this was because the Emperor needed to sleep. He said that he actually came to see Lillian, because after she left for the imperial palace, her father fainted, and he's still in critical condition. The Emperor asked whether Lillian would leave him. Lillian said that she would return at night, but now she thinks that she should return to the duchy. The Emperor said that he would send a carriage for her at night. First, Lillian will meet with her father. Although it differs from the plot of the novella, the Duke's end is inevitable. Leland told her sister that everything was fine and no one blamed her. Bastian noted that his father already had health problems. Instead, the fate of these two people changed completely. This is probably why Bastian and Leland radiate freedom. In any case, The efforts of the main character were not in vain. Bastian asked if they should then have a serious conversation just between them. Bastian asked Lillian if she was going to continue meeting with His Majesty. If so, then in the end she will have to. Before he could finish speaking, Leen interrupted him and said that she had to marry him. Leen said that it may not look like that now, but the palace is not an easy place, so Leen wants her sister to think about it a little more. Lillian said that the maids talked about this. His Majesty became more lenient towards mistakes. And if something happens, she will immediately report it and may well do it. The older sister hugged Lillian tightly and did not understand when their younger sister managed to grow so much. Leen said that Lillian will always be a sweet little sister. Bastian noticed that there wasn't a day when he didn't think like that from the moment he saw Lillian, and he asked her to return if the Emperor harmed her, because the doors of the duchy are always open for the youngest. Lillian was very happy to hear this, and she thanked her sister and brother for their care. The Emperor wondered whether Lillian would return to his chambers as promised. However, she will leave as soon as he falls asleep. He understood that if she continued to visit the palace, her reputation would suffer. The man understood that he must leave Lillian in the palace forever. The servants reported to the Emperor that Lady Macellion had arrived. The Emperor asked Lillian if she would marry him, but the girl said that this proposal was not enough. Lillian called this proposal very boring. The Emperor thought that he had done something wrong, but Lillian said that this was not the case at all. Kale is the main character's favorite not because he is a master flirt, and because of the love interest associated with him. Having a man clinging to her had always been the main character's dream, but after feeling it, Lillian realized that it was just a fantasy. The Emperor asked if she would accept his proposal. Lillian said that they would do it, however, they would only be together for a year. The Emperor did not understand why this was so. Lillian said it was because they might fall in love with someone else, and they might not know. What will happen in the future? The Emperor asked if this meant that she would cheat on him and leave. The young lady asked if he was hinting that she would do it. The girl said that she was not one of those who indulged in obscenity. The girl had a lot of doubts, because the Emperor will soon fall in love with the main character of the novel. The Emperor said that Lillian spoke as if he did not trust him. Lillian said that if he didn't like it, she would leave. Until Sayla shows up a year later. But then Lillian will be free, if she can hold out until then. The Emperor said that he had not said such a thing, and asked Lillian to sign something. They swear that they will be faithful to each other and live as a married couple for 1 year. Lillian signed. Kale informed that since she would enter the palace, she would not have to worry about the various servants around. It was wonderful. The girl said that she would make sure that the Emperor had a good night, and Kale, in turn, said that he would do everything possible so that the ceremony takes place as soon as possible. Lillian asked the Emperor to take care of her. The Emperor wondered why Lillian did not add her own terms. The main character doesn't even ask for compensation or benefits for her home. Her actions clearly show that she has no intention of being his wife. Otherwise, why would Lillian say that it was only for 1 year? The Emperor decided that it was because the offer was not very good. The Emperor was informed that Count Ellen had arrived. The man said he could come in. The man reported that they suppressed the uprising and returned safely. Thanks to the reinforcements the Emperor provided, they were successful. The Emperor noticed that they did a good job, and even if there are excellent soldiers, victory depends on the skills of the commander. The Emperor announced that the commander would be rewarded for the work done. The Count was very happy and swore eternal devotion to the ruler. The Emperor asked Sir Reynard if he was a newlywed. The man confirmed this. Kale asked if he proposed before getting married. The commander confirmed this, and so the Emperor asked how he did it. The man did not understand why the ruler was asking such things so unexpectedly. Kale assumed that the knight did not want to talk about it. Sir said that there was nothing special in his proposal, and this was an uninteresting event. But the Emperor said that everything was fine and ordered to tell. The knight said that he prepared flowers first because his wife loves flowers. Lillian also loves flowers, and so the Emperor asked which flowers he chose. The man prepared several large, beautiful roses to express his love. In any case, the knight came to the city square with flowers. The Emperor was amazed that this happened in front of so many people. Although Reynard had prepared a speech, when he stood in front of the lady, he simply asked to marry him. That's how it was. The Emperor noticed that it was simple. Luckily, his wife liked his honesty. The Emperor asked with embarrassment what Sir thought of the proposal, in which he only asked to marry him. Sir asked if the Emperor was talking about the proposal without gifts, and immediately after they met. If this is the case, then the man will be rejected almost immediately. This surprised the emperor very much, and he asked again. The knight repeated once again that the proposal is a very important event in the life of a couple. It seemed to the knight that something was wrong with his majesty, but the emperor said that everything was fine. The main character returned to the duke's estate after her father fainted again. The marriage has not yet been announced, so Lillian is still going back and forth from the palace. The girl asked who would be next, but the servants could no longer do anything. Sometimes, when the main character had free time, she sparred with knights. Because Lillian's body has sword talent, the knights apologized to Miss. The girl said that she was ready to repeat it at any time. But the servant said that he had something else in mind and pointed in the other direction. Someone's silhouette could be seen there. It was the emperor with a large bouquet of flowers. The ruler said that he wanted to say something to Lillian. The girl didn't want to believe that he was really trying again when she said yesterday that his proposal was dull. She understood that even if this was courtship, it was too much. The emperor knelt down and said that he was asking for this with all his sincerity and asked if she would marry him. The heroine was very tired of this and did not want it to continue. Into the emperor's room and screamed and asked what the emperor had done to the lady. The man noticed that Huna was acting rudely, but he understood her. The maid did not understand why it had to be done this way, and no one can change the past. This was a woman who decided not to dwell on the past. Hana convinced the emperor that the main thing was the probationary period. She was very interested in how the lady reacted. The emperor said that Lillian said that he was getting a 100% negative result. Headmaid Hina, who had experienced the death crisis dozens of times, had a premonition that another crisis awaited her. Her glasses were already cracked. The maid told the emperor that, fortunately, the opportunity remained, because the lady came last night, and if she did not like him, then she would not have returned to the palace at all. But the emperor said that she left immediately after he fell asleep. The maid assured the ruler that he should sincerely apologize to the lady, saying that he did not want to embarrass the lady with his words. The emperor thought about it. Bastian shouted and asked Lillian if she really needed to get married. The younger sister calmly told her brother that he should know that this happened because of His Majesty's haste. The servant reported that someone from the imperial palace had arrived, but Bastian ordered him to leave. Bastian shouted that if His Majesty cared about his sister, he would not have come for her so brazenly. Lillian said that her brother did not know why His Majesty was calling her. Bastian said that it was obvious and he wanted to sleep. It was already noon. Bastian said that they would go together because he would be worried about sending his sister alone. Lillian didn't understand why this was so. My brother said that protecting her was one of his responsibilities. The emperor apologized and said that words would not make up for his guilt, but Hina says that resentment develops over time. Lillian didn't know who Hina was. Kale said that this was the headmaid. Now the main character understood that that character was Hyun. At first this surprised her, but she understood that her name could not just be headmaid, and this was not surprising. Lillian said that everything was fine, and she was just surprised, but she understood his intentions. It didn't matter that the proposal lacked romance. Kale asked when the wedding ceremony was to take place. Bastian angrily asked what the emperor was saying. Kale asked if her brother knew that their relationship was based on marriage. Bastian admitted that he had no idea. Lillian said that she had said before that the time would come when she would have to marry His Majesty, and that time had come. Bastian said that he did not know that this would happen, so he was upset so soon. Bastian asked for a minute to discuss this with his sister. The brother asked Lily to change her mind, and it was obvious that this would be dangerous for her. Kale thought that the Knights Commander's words were rude and assumed that he was beating his sister. The soundproofing in the palace is really bad. He heard Lily say that the Emperor was not a bad person. Lillian also said that it might be difficult for the Emperor to express his feelings. But he apologized, and if that were so, he would not have thought about something insignificant as her intentions, and would have immediately held the wedding ceremony. Bastian asked his sister to tell him honestly whether she had fallen in love with the Emperor. Lily said she doesn't hate him. The brother did not understand what she liked about His Majesty. The main character said that she liked his face. He was very handsome. The Emperor asked the headmaid to put cucumbers on his face today. This surprised Yuna very much. The maid asked what came over him that he suddenly decided to take care of his face. The Emperor replied that he wanted to look good for someone. Hana understood everything. She said that even if the Emperor neglects his face, His Majesty is already handsome enough. Hana was thinking about whether she could eat the leftover cucumbers. The emperor said that all the court ladies say this, but Lillian is honest in her feelings, and he needs to try harder. Everything was finished, and now the lady could enter. Lillian asked Kale to close his eyes, but the emperor stopped her. The girl assumed that he wanted to tell her something. Kale pointed his finger at his face and asked if she noticed anything special. The main character said that there was nothing strange about him, and there was nothing strange on him either. The emperor wanted to say something, but he simply turned to the other side and said that it was nothing. Lillian asked him to tell her what he meant, but Kale said that it was really nothing. She didn't understand what happened and why this guy was suddenly saying this, and she didn't even understand what had changed. Lillian understood that the emperor would not tell her. The main character said that if he doesn't want to talk, then she won't be able to do anything, and therefore wished him good night. They have arrived. Bastian said they could get out here. Lillian found out that they were in the garden. It was great, even though she didn't know how to run a house and wasn't interested in it. Lillian asked if her brother would force her to do housework. Bastian said that he was simply giving her ownership and asked his sister not to worry. Bastian asked again if Lillian had said that she loved His Majesty for his face. The girl confirmed this, but in reality, this is due to the fact that the handsome emperor is obsessed with her. The guy said that the landowner said that there were good apples here, they were good color and the perfect size. Lily didn't understand what her brother was trying to say. Bastian talked about a wedding with the emperor and once again asked his sister to think about it. He handed the flower to the girl. Lillian thanked her brother for his advances, but she has already decided everything. Bastian tried to tell her something, but she left. The emperor noticed that today the girl smells of earth and fruit. Kale asked where she went. It was funny because yesterday he refused to answer her question, and now he's falling asleep to her himself. Kale said that Lillian McKellion is the one who will become his wife. Lillian said that she saw a lot of beautiful things today. This surprised the emperor very much, and he asked again. The main character did not understand how he could doubt her words. The main character said that she saw and chose only the freshest and youngest, and did not understand how they could all be so cute. The emperor was furious. No one except the count and his family has the right to use the garden. Bastian didn't even know why such a law was suddenly created. The emperor asked the girl what she had done. Lillian once again said that she enjoyed the hot day. There weren't many of them anymore, but the girl had enough beautiful things. Either way, it was a good day. The emperor said in tears that she had said that she would marry him. Lillian said she was in the garden. Yesterday, the emperor was upset, so she did the same. The girl asked if he doubted her. Kale said it was his fault. Lillian praised him for admitting it, for which he will give him a chance to make amends. Lillian said that tomorrow she would come to the emperor an hour earlier. During this time, he must make her feel better. The emperor asked if she was going to spend time with him instead of sleeping. The girl confirmed this, however. The emperor should not try to surprise her, and there is no need for sudden proposals or strange gifts. The main character said that if the emperor did this, she would simply return home and break their contract on the same day. He understood her, but asked to be allowed to add his own condition. The man asked that Lillian not date people who were better looking than him. The emperor asked the maid what a man and a woman could do for an hour. Hana said that it would be good to eat or have a snack, and there is no better way to relax. This is something that couples often do together. And if it's a meeting with Lady McKellion, then Hina will prepare snacks for them. The emperor said that this was a good idea, but threateningly asked if there were other options. Kale was thinking that if she says that the fruits are beautiful, then will she call all this beautiful? Hannah said that the lady would arrive soon, and there would be no way to make new cookies. Lillian asked the emperor what it was. Kale placed the cookie on the girl's hand, and she thought it was very cute. The main character only said this to maintain good relations with the emperor, but he really tries. The man broke off the head of the gingerbread. Lillian asked him what he was doing. That's what he was. The emperor did not understand whether he was able to maintain good relations with Lady McKellion. If this continues a year later, Lillian will leave after the end of the contract. Huna asked him not to worry, because when the lady entered the palace as the empress, their relationship would develop in some way. This surprised the emperor, and he asked again. The maid said they would be as good as the time they spent together. They will get used to each other by spending more time together. The lady has arrived. The time with Lillian until the emperor falls asleep is 18 seconds, and that's not enough. Any attachment that may appear and disappear. The emperor asked if she could spend time with him again. Lillian said that if he talks about having a snack or dinner together, then she agrees. The emperor asked how about a date outside the palace. The main character said that if it is not indoors, then it will never happen. Kale asked if her answer is final, even if it is a request. Lillian said she didn't want to. Sir thought that last time the emperor had definitely told him that he would give him a title, but the expression on his face spoke for itself. The emperor asked the knight if he had a date in the house. There were pleasant rumors about the emperor in society, that he changed thanks to love and wanted to do everything well. The cruel emperor became more patient. It was the power of love. He was ready to devote himself to his love, and the knight was ready to devote himself to the love of the emperor. There was a special dinner of the imperial palace on the table, which the headmaid praised so much. The knight said that the emperor must make it clear to the other person that the time spent with him is pleasant and makes him happy. The emperor could not believe that there was so much delicious food on the table. It was absolutely amazing. Hana apologized and said that she would quickly organize everything. It is also important to compliment the other person. Kale turned to Lillian and said that his eyes only saw her. The servants apologized and said that they would leave immediately. It is also better to whisper some sweet words. Simple words will also do, but be sure to say that you want to carve your name on the girl's heart. Lillian asked to be killed. She said she thought Kale understood what she meant, and Lillian believes that she understood the emperor's feelings. The main character understood that perhaps he was afraid that she would run away again. Kale is afraid that he won't be able to sleep again. Lillian offered a 1-year contract because she wanted to be sure that Sayla will appear. The emperor asked if she was still unsure of him. Lillian told Kale not to worry because she would still be putting him to bed. But tomorrow the main character must meet someone. The emperor asked if this someone was more important than him. Lillian said maybe, but they see each other every night. The emperor realized that in any case, it seemed like he still had a chance. And the person Lillian is supposed to meet today is Celestian Ellen. The woman was grateful to Lady McKellion for coming. This woman is the main character's second favorite character in the novel. Lillian said that it was her dream to attend a tea party in such a wonderful garden. She decided to start out friendly. Celestian thanked the girl and was flattered. But what was much more interesting was that the Duke does not have a garden like this one. Celestian Ellen is the absolute villain of the original story. Lillian said that not all people are interested in this, but the main character knows that she is not perfect. At the same time, she looks like her in the past. Celestian did not become this way by choice. She was constantly ordered to raise her head and behave with dignity, always tried to be the perfect woman, and was eventually cursed by a witch. So ridiculous that she ended up becoming a villain. That's why she became like this. Celestian noted that Lillian must be disappointed that she has the title of Duchess, but does not have her own garden. In the novel, Celestian was constantly in conflict with Sayla. Lillian said that because of this, she accepted the invitation and asked not to be offended if she was too surprised, and they became enemies. Lillian was delighted. While Sayla is away, the main character can show her that she is not her enemy. There were amazing cookies, and the main character did not understand why they were so delicious. Celestian noted that it looked like Lillian was trying these cookies for the first time. Lillian herself confirmed it, because she had never been to Count Ellen's estate. The Countess told her not to be shy and to take more. The girl was very grateful. A man came up. He said he knew there weren't supposed to be men at women's tea parties, but he wanted to welcome his guest. It was Earl Ellen. This really stressed the main character, because he shouldn't be alive. Lillian was very glad to meet the Count. The man asked Celestian why not invite Lady McKellion into the house. Celestian asked him if he was going to date other women right in front of her. But the man said that she saved his life and was able to change his majesty beyond recognition. Lady McKellion has a very sincere smile. Unlike others, she has no prejudices, someone other than Reynard. This was Celestian's first time. Lillian reported that other people had already left. Celestian turned to her and said that in truth, she was interested in something. She asked if the Duchess would soon become Empress. The main character confirmed this, and the Countess became curious why she did this. Perhaps it was rude. Lillian asked to forgive her. Lady Lillian pushed the man. Celestian didn't understand what was happening, and the man asked to let him go. It was St. Caton. Celestian didn't understand how he was here. Lillian asked if they knew each other. The Countess said that this is a stalker, and he has been pursuing her for a long time. The man asked to be released because the Countess knew him. The lady said it wouldn't do and they couldn't just let him go. Lillian began to cast spells. Celestian was simply delighted. The main character asked the Countess if she was okay because her face was red. Meanwhile, the man ran away through the bushes and said that they would answer for this. The Emperor noticed that rumors about Lillian's unusual ability were spreading quickly and therefore asked if she was okay. The girl said that her ability is not that special. Kale said those lips were touched by another man. Lillian said that if he was finished, then she would go. But that was not what the Emperor meant. He asked Liliana to forget about it and said that he was very tired and wanted to sleep. Lillian kissed him and wished him good night. The commander has been visiting His Majesty for 3 days in a row. When he came again, he realized that it seemed that the meeting with the lady had not gone very well. The man asked how the lady appreciated the last dinner from the Emperor. Kale admitted that she said it was terrible. The man was in complete shock. The Emperor said that he said everything that Sir advised him. The knight realized that the Emperor said that he wanted to carve his name on Lillian's heart. It was difficult to imagine how the lady felt. The commander asked His Majesty to tell in more detail what happened. Kale asked how detailed this should be, and the man said that he should speak in as much detail as possible from first to last. When the man listened, he wanted to hit the Emperor. He promised the lady that he would make a man out of the Emperor. The commander asked if the Emperor wanted to convey his feelings to the lady. The Emperor confirmed this, but he did not know how to do it. The commander said that it is not necessary to try to convey everything in words. This surprised Kale very much. The commander said that for this, you need a good place and atmosphere. Sir said that he was escorting the Emperor. Kale didn't understand where, but Sir said with a smile that it was to the kitchen. When Lillian arrived, she was very surprised that the Emperor was not in bed. The man asked if Lillian would mind taking a walk in the garden. Kale took out a basket. The Emperor asked her to look. Lillian was very surprised and asked if he baked it himself. The man shyly said yes. Kale shouted to her that she didn't have to try it and begged her not to eat it. Lillian didn't understand why or what the problem was. The Emperor wiped the girl's face and said that everything was covered in crumbs, so she had to be careful. Lillian said that it was really tasty, and she was very interested in where he learned it. The main character really liked everything, because today the wind was pleasant and a lot of stars were visible. The Emperor said that he liked it too. Lillian smiled. Kale asked if he did everything right today. Lillian said that today was the best day they had spent together. The main character hoped that in the future it would be the same, and thanked His Majesty for such a pleasant evening together. Today, the Emperor added apple jam. Kale asked Lillian if she liked it. The girl answered that very much. This embarrassed the Emperor a little, and he said that he liked it then too. Lillian did not understand what he wanted from her. Bastian said that she was so slow that he easily found all the weak points. Lillian was sure that she too would soon hit him on the head. It was difficult for Liliana. They announced to her that she had a guest. It was Celestian. The woman apologized for coming so unexpectedly. Lillian said it was nothing, but she asked why Celestian came. The woman brought cookies and said that she wanted to share because the Duchess really liked them last time. And since Duchess Lillian was not at the estate, Celestian decided to bring everything personally. Bastian said it was different from what their chef cooked, and his sister was angry that he was eating without permission. Celestian said that everything was fine, but she suggested going to a more suitable place. Bastian asked how long they had been waiting for him, but Celestian said that everything was fine. The woman said that she baked everything herself, and she asked the lady if wielding a sword was her hobby. But Lillian said that's not entirely true, and she learned because it's a family tradition. Celestian said it was a little unusual. A woman who wields a sword. In fact, this was Celestian's dream. She really liked stories about noble knights. The woman admired how they saved people. They asked her why she didn't learn, and her father didn't wield a sword, so he thought that his daughter didn't need it either. Nobody will like such a girl. Bastian laughed at the fact that someone else thought that way. Lillian asked if Celestian could do whatever she wanted now that she was married. Celestian said that it is very difficult and that it is not something that a woman can do. She saw Lady McKellion's hands and realized that this was definitely not easy. Lillian said it wasn't easy, but that's okay. The main character said that if Celestian wants to learn how to wield a sword, then Lillian can help and teach her. Celestian was very surprised, and Lillian said that this could be a return favor for the cookies. The woman was very happy. The main character did not understand how one could be so beautiful. The cooks asked His Majesty what about the cupcakes. The emperor stuffed them into the oven, and everyone was very worried. The servants noticed that it turned out great and called the emperor amazing. They suggested that the emperor put them in a basket. Kale thanked them, but they said that it was their job and wished them luck on their date today. This time it worked out well, but the emperor could not wait until evening to see how she would eat it. Celestian came to Lillian. She baked cupcakes today. The main character began training with Celestian. Lillian noticed that everything that Celestian brings is very tasty, and at other times they had tea parties. Someone knocked on Lillian's room, and this surprised her very much, since she was not waiting for anyone. It was the emperor. He told Lillian that she had a visitor. Celestian saluted the son of the empire. Kale realized that this was Countess Ellen. Lillian was very happy that they both brought sweets. Celestian said that the emperor's cupcakes were burnt, and it was bad for Lillian to eat it, because it was not clear how it would affect her health. But Lillian said that nothing would happen if she ate a little. Lillian thanked her for the treat. Lillian took a bite and said it was a little raw, and noted that the heat was too high. Kale asked Lillian if it was that bad. He asked the girl not to force herself to eat it. Lillian said that it wasn't that bad because Kale tried to please her, and she appreciated it. The emperor promised to try even better tomorrow. Celestian said that it was already late, but the emperor remained in the unmarried girl's room for a long time. Kale said that it didn't matter, and that he was here to take Lillian to the bedroom. This surprised Celestian very much, but Lillian said that everything was fine, and she had to go. The main character did not understand why the ruler continued to mislead people. Celestian asked if this had anything to do with Lillian's ability. Lillian confirmed this, but asked to keep it a secret. The countess agreed, and said that in this case she would return to the estate. The countess suggested that the main character should have a pajama party later. They will put on pajamas and chat and eat various sweets. The main character was very happy, because one can only dream of a party with Celestian. She said it was just wonderful, but the emperor said that no, and this would never happen. The commander came to the emperor. He asked if the last date went well. Kale said that everything went well, and he just wanted to ask something. The man said that he wants to destroy the counts, or rather the marquises. He wanted to destroy the mansion. The emperor asked if this was possible. The commander said that first he would like to hear the reason. Kale said that if the mansion was destroyed, the marquis's wife would not be able to have a pajama party. This surprised the commander very much. And then he remembered that his wife had said that she wanted to invite Lady McKellion to the mansion, and asked her husband if he would mind. He realized it was a slumber party. Celestian said that she had only recently met Lady McKellion and regretted that they had not met earlier. This pajama party was already nerve-wracking. Sir thought he was taking on too much. No matter what happens, she can't take back her words. The emperor asked how about moving somewhere further away and wondered if this would be too difficult for him. The man said that this was not a problem for him, and he can refuse right now and go to feud. But he is worried that Lady McKellion is very smart and quick-witted. The emperor confirmed this. The commander explained that if something happened at his estate when the sir's wife and the lady promised to meet, then Lillian would think that Kale was involved in it. He also added that relationships between people of different sexes and the same sex are different. When sir's wife says she wants to be closer to the lady, she means to become friends. But the lady and the emperor will marry and grow old together. Kale himself noticed this and said that it would be better if she did what she wanted and did not adapt to emotions that ruin everything. Now that the commander is thinking about it, the emperor asks for dating advice. He probably doesn't need them anymore. The emperor asked Lillian how the party went. The girl said it was great, and they tell each other a lot of stories. Kale said that he was thinking about the preparations for the wedding. Lillian noted that they need to hold a ceremony. Hannah noticed that they needed to pick out a dress for the lady, but it's late today, so the maid will help her next time she comes. Lillian was grateful. The maid said that this was nothing special and that it was an honor for her. Hannah asked the girl if she would like to look around the room while His Majesty was sleeping. This surprised Lillian, and she asked again. Hannah was talking about the Empress's room. The Emperor asked whether separate rooms were necessary. Lillian said they were needed because she also needed a place to sleep. Kale said that he has a big bed. But Lillian said that this would not work if they wanted to get divorced in a year, then they should be more careful. The Emperor was shocked. Lillian said that they needed a separate room, and this was a must in their case. The commander came to the ruler and conveyed his congratulations to him because he heard that the emperor was getting married. The man asked if something was bothering the emperor. Kale did not understand why Lillian did not open her heart. The marriage is approved. The wedding schedule is already being discussed, but she says nothing. Meanwhile, Liliana apologized to Celestian. The main character told her to run around without sparring, and now she's sitting here alone. The countess asked the girl if she knew that she had been in prostration for some time. Celestian said that she dreamed of being a knight. After their last conversation, Celestian learned the art of swordsmanship from the main character. She asked if Lillian liked it. Lillian realized that the woman was talking about marriage and said that she hated it. She was happy because if they got married, the main character would be able to avoid her death. In this case, Leyland and Bastion live. Celestian said that this also means that she doesn't like it. Celestian's husband, Reynard, will also survive. Lillian said that she was worried about His Majesty's reaction when she said that they should live in separate rooms, because she thought it was obvious. But when His Majesty heard this, his reaction was stronger than she expected. In the original, Selena appeared because the McKellian family was destroyed. Of course, Lillian likes the Emperor, but she doesn't know if Selena will appear after deviating from the original. And she didn't know what else would change this year. Lillian wondered if she could safely escape from Kale. Celestian suggested they run away together. Lillian asked if she was speaking in a place that no one knew about. The woman said that they would begin a life they had never even thought of. Lillian noted that it sounded tempting and told her not to worry because she was just a little worried about the marriage. The efforts of the main character were not in vain because everyone is alive. Celestian told Lillian to tell her if something happened. The main character was sure that Selena would appear and she would be able to avoid a bad end. She needs to take care of Kale's sleep, and what is important is what the future will be like. Lillian turned to the Emperor and asked if he should worry about her. Kale replied yes. He asked if she had thought about kissing his forehead. The girl said that she was thinking and noticed that the Emperor was still worried that she would leave and he would not be able to sleep. Kale asked if Lillian wanted to do anything other than put him to bed. Lillian didn't understand what he was talking about. He said that she knows that she will soon be his bride. Lillian knew about this, but Kale said that she would have to come to his bedroom after becoming her, so he asks if their relationship will remain like this. The main character knew so and asked him not to worry, because she would always kiss his forehead without missing a day. The reason Kale became possessed was because he couldn't sleep. The Emperor must have been alarmed that if Liliana inspires him that she will not leave him during this year, then everything will be fine. Kale lay down on the other side and cried, because he, as her partner, wanted to hear the truth. He didn't understand how his wife could be okay when he suffers like this. The man thought that there must be many people who would say something about dignity if they saw him in this state. But suddenly, Kale remembered that Lillian told him that she would always, without missing a day, kiss His Majesty on the forehead and asked him not to worry. The Emperor was very worried that this relationship would not develop, and then this year would be fun, but Lillian would be ready to leave and find her happiness. The ruler understood that after a year his wife would ask for a divorce. Lillian is kind, but she will never open her heart to the Emperor. But with Marchioness Ellen, everything is different. The Emperor did not understand why he was doing this for the sake of a woman. Kale shouted at his subordinate. The man was very sorry, but the Emperor sent him away and asked what the cost of building a large canal was. The man said in tears that if the Emperor gave him some time, then they will provide the relevant data. Kale didn't understand why the man wanted so much from him when he couldn't do anything, so he gave him 4 days. The butler informed the Emperor that there were still issues to discuss. They must inform the Empress about the scale and cost of the wedding. The man said that they should treat the future Empress appropriately, and in this way, they will be able to strengthen their position throughout the world. The Emperor also agreed, and they must prepare with the greatest care to prevent divorce in the imperial family. They couldn't get divorced easily, but Kale believed that they would have enough time to discuss this issue. The men considered this fair and noted that they would provide a report and discuss it at a meeting tomorrow. They put a sample on Lillian. The tailor said that they should remove the puffy sleeves, shorten the top, and make the bottom fuller so that the dress would look better on her. Hannah said it looked really good on Lillian. It was elegant and showed authority at the same time. She pulled her hair up. Celestian said that the lady was too beautiful, and Leland only asked when the wedding would take place. Lillian was grateful and said they were choosing a date. The Marchioness approached Lillian and said that she was too good for him, but since this is a wedding, Celestian will say something good. She congratulated the main character. Leyland told her sister that she couldn't believe Lillian was getting married already. She asked Lillian to make sure that she would always be happy, and if she's even a little unhappy, Leyland will come and take her back. Lillian noticed that she promised not to cry, but this really touched her. Lillian was very happy and thanked her that her sister came and asked Leyland to hug her. The sisters hugged. A carriage from the imperial family arrived. Bastian asked what all this was for. The man said it was a wedding gift. They couldn't even imagine how much it all cost, and the delivery people said that His Majesty was giving this to the lady. They said that the emperor was deeply in love with the lady. The servant noticed that he didn't really want to be with her. The servant said that His Majesty said that he would soon get married, and there is not much time left before that. It was interesting what kind of magic spell the Empress cast, because it's very strange that the Emperor just fell in love like that. The maid was also interested, and, in any case, she thinks that the atmosphere in the palace has become lively lately. The man understood that this was not funny, because this sick guy was in love. It really wasn't funny at all. Lillian McKellion doesn't look all that impressive, but he doesn't know what she really is. If he can get her on his side, then he should talk to her. Lillian asked if they would finish for today. The lady noted that the knights should use more force. They said that the lady is tougher than the leader. The knight pointed to the bushes and said that there was someone there. Lillian thought and realized that this could possibly be the same stalker. This person. His silhouette is similar to a king, but he has a sharp aura. But it's strange in a place like this, so you have to be careful. Lillian knew how suspicious she looked now. The man said that she didn't have to be on guard, because he knew how suspicious he looked right now. It was Sulan Kaldorf, Prince of the Empire. The guy asked if he could talk to her. Sulan hates King Kale, because Solana's beloved committed suicide after being rejected by the king. Lillian apologized and said she still had other things to do. The fact that he directs his distorted hatred towards other people was the reason why the main character dislikes this character. Sulan said that he believes that there is no need to be so afraid of him. Lillian wanted to help Celestian, but not Sulan, and she already refused to give Sulan such an opportunity. The main character knew the result of excessive greed thanks to the Duke. Lillian decided to ignore him completely. Sulan thought that they would quickly recognize each other. He was very interested in how long she would last. Sulan asked the lady for a minute, but Lillian said she had a headache. The man offered to get into the carriage, but Lillian said that she did not like the ride. Lillian ignored all his letters. The servant remarked that he thought she had thrown it away. The servant offered to give the family something with wiretapping. The plan with the maid to give her poison didn't work. It also failed to force the thieves to break in. Sulan did not understand what kind of woman she was. He was very angry and understood that he would probably have to do everything himself. Celestian greeted. She asked Lillian if she wanted to eat first. The main character happily agreed. She felt that someone was watching and assumed that it was Sulan. Celestian asked if something had happened because Lillian suddenly stopped. Lillian knew that after spending so much money on her and seeing no results, he must be angry, but the main character cannot continue to bear this burden forever. Lillian asked if she could look at the wonderful garden again. Celestian agreed. The Marquise noticed that the lady really liked gardens and suggested that it was because she didn't have one. Lillian said she heard a saying that people are jealous of what they don't have. Lillian asked if Celestian wanted to duel with her. The lady noticed that she had heard that she was training with the Imperial Knights, and she only recently took the sword in her hands, and Celestian will barely be able to cope with the starting position. Lillian told her not to worry because she had good self-control. Celestian thought about it. They changed clothes and were ready to spar. Celestian said that she would do the best she could. Lillian was pleased with her attitude and noted that winners usually strike first. Celestian began to advance, but then her sword broke. He flew into the bushes, and the Marquise began to say that there was someone there. Lily told her to calm down, because that someone had already run away. A teleportation spell was used. Lillian felt the mana. Celestian said that the main character still has a stalker. The main character understood that Celestian should also prepare. Lillian said that they must strengthen their defenses. She meant so much more. This is because he is a villain who only needs to target Lillian. The servant told the master that he had done a lot. The prince was sitting with a bump on his head. Nothing worked for him. He didn't understand why the man was here. He reported that suddenly Celestian ordered her guards to check everything, but he was able to leave unnoticed. Sulan broke the vase and said that this was stupidity. By the way, despite the fact that they were hiding, Lillian was able to find out that they were following them. Lillian is a worthy opponent. Sulan did not understand why such a talented person was sitting in the Empress's chair. He assumed that perhaps Kale was already under her control. The Emperor noticed that he and the prince had not seen each other for a long time. Sulan smiled and confirmed this himself. He was sure of this because Kale's expression was different from before. Kale asked what was the matter, and Sulan simply said that he came to visit him. The prince did not leave his estate after Portia's death, and he noticed that Kale looked great. The ruler invited the prince to try the cookies. He asked what they were, to which the emperor said that he had prepared them himself. Sulan believed that it had been prepared a couple of days ago. The man admitted that he was trying to be a good husband. Sulan noticed that the lady should be happy and said that he was forced to leave the emperor. Sulan noticed that Kale changed very easily. And again, just like that. For Kale, she's now just a distant memory. He missed Portia very much and began to cry. Lillian was very grateful to the Marquis of Locke for the invitation. The invitations started pouring in as the wedding approached. All but one were refused. This party is being hosted by the Marquis Locke, the greediest of them all. It was a great honor for the marquises that they were chosen. The lady hoped that Lady McKellion would have a good time. Everyone was very interested in the love story between the emperor and the lady, and everyone asked for more details. This was off the record, so Lillian could say whatever she wanted. Lillian began to say that she and His Majesty met when they were collecting stars. The stars were so bright that he caught her as she was returning. Everyone thought it was very romantic. It was very funny to tell something that wasn't true. The women asked the lady to show them where this romantic place was. While Lillian was standing on the balcony, a man approached her and introduced himself by name, Marin Vajak. The main character saw him for the first time, so she asked what he needed. The main character definitely closed the doors, and it was very rude of that man. He said that he would like to take this moment and ask, but Lillian said she didn't want to. He even asked if she was the maid's daughter, but that didn't appeal to her, and Lillian said she didn't want to. Marin said that a lady might try to hide her low status until the end, and he asked if she could tell the prince that he was broken. Lillian said that she cannot know anything being the daughter of a maid, but she knows that it is a very big sin to defame the royal family. The prince said that if Marin wanted to expose him, he could do so, but he could not guarantee that his head would remain on his shoulders. The main character noted that defaming the royal family is a great crime, and she asks His Majesty to punish him properly. Sulan decided that he knew why Kale was so fixated on Lillian. Marin told His Highness that he deserved to die and apologized. The prince said that he must beg for mercy if he wants to be forgiven. Sulan noticed that he is more patient with animals than with people, especially dogs. Judging by the expression on Marin's face, he wants no mercy. Marin said he would do it and knelt before the prince. The guy said that another thing he really likes is the adorable dog barking. Marin was very angry but began to bark. Sulan liked this. The last person the main character met before the wedding was Sayeg. It was the guy Leen, and this was their first meeting. Lillian herself said that this was the first meeting, but noted that she had heard a lot about him. There was no description of it in the novel, but it really exists. Saiga was amused by what Leen was saying about him, but Leen said that she only mentioned his name. The guy said that was enough. He admitted that he had heard that Lillian was getting married soon and asked to accept his congratulations, and noted that she most likely had already received many congratulations. The main character was very happy and said that she had prepared a place for him and invited him to the wedding. This was a big relief because he was asking this because they would be catching the bouquet. But Leen hit him and said that their wedding would not take place until the fall and that it was still a long way off. But the guy said that no one knows when the wedding will take place, and he asked Leen if she should catch the bouquet while she could. The girl said one more word, and he would fall asleep right there. Leen noticed that her sister was probably very busy, so she gave the gift from Saiga. It was a handkerchief with amazing embroidery. Leen said her boyfriend did it himself.